YouTube, what's up everyone? Welcome back. Hopefully everyone's having an amazing day. I know I am, man. I'm excited for the rest of this year. I'm excited for the bull run. I'm excited to see how high XRP is gonna go. But look, stop scrolling. Relax. If you got even one Satoshi or a single XRP in your portfolio, you're gonna want to hear what I'm about to tell you because something absolutely insane, it's happening right now. Behind the scenes in the mainstream media, guess what? They're not talking yet. But you know what? Rip's about to talk about it. I'm about to let you all know what's going on out there. We're talking a lot of missing XRP, Coinbase wallets. What's up? Billionaires making jaw-dropping Bitcoin price calls, Ripple and Stellar teaming up in ways that could reshape a $1 quadrillion market, and even the Bank of Japan accidentally confirming the biggest reason why crypto is about to explode. This is not your hype video. This isn't your, we're going to make up stuff. We're showing you the proof, the documents. We got it all. I'm about to connect the dots that nobody else is showing you. And by the time we're done, you're going to see exactly why XRP, Bitcoin, and the entire crypto market, they're sitting on a powder keg, ready to blow. So buckle up, because today's video isn't just news. It's a roadmap to what could be the biggest wealth transfer of our lifetime. And we're going to start it with something absolutely wild, folks. We're talking about Coinbase. There are 2 wallets left with 16.4 million XRP in each of them. Why is this interesting? Well, back in June, there was 52 Coinbase cold wallets. We're down to 2. Does anyone else see something wrong with this? Does anyone else think that something fishy's going on here? Coinbase cold wallet tracker showing we only got 2 wallets. What's up? 52 cold wallets. Back in June, 10 wallets were sitting at 26.8 million, and the other 42 wallets had 16.8 million. It all ended up to about 970 million XRP. Everyone, you can see it right here. You can see the wallets listed on your screen. But here's where it gets crazy. Where did it all go? Where did all this XRP go? It's not in my wallet. I looked. Is it in your wallet? Go check your wallet for me. Come back. I want to know if it's in your wallet. Look, some people think it's about withdrawals, institutions quietly accumulating, or users just moving their coins. But let me throw some speculation out there that might blow your mind. What if these XRP aren't just disappearing? What if they are being locked up in private deals with central banks and payment corridors? You ever thought about that? Think about it for a second. Ripple has always been about liquidity solutions for institutions. If central banks are preparing to roll out digital currency pilots, they need massive liquidity pools. What if Coinbase is essentially the middleman here, funneling XRP into these private contracts we're not supposed to see yet? That, my friends, would explain why supply is vanishing. And remember now, XRP is capped. 100, that's it. There can never be any more. So once the big players up these reserves, well, retail could be fighting over the scraps that are left. This is supply shock 101, and it's happening right in front of our very eyes. Folks, this week's almost full. If you didn't book your 101, use that link below. Book yourself a call, super limited. You need a plan, need a strategy. We'll map it all out. We'll get you all figured out. So you'll be cool, calm, and collected entering the biggest wealth transfer of our lifetimes. And then Tim Draper. I like Tim. Look, there's crazy people out there. Like Novogratz, I'm not to mention any names, But Draper's calling here. $250,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year. Now look, I made a prediction, okay? Bitcoin hits 250K, you're going to get an XRP that's from like $19 to $30, okay? It could happen. I think Bitcoin could get to 250. Maybe not the end of this year, but by early next year. The way everything is shaping up and lining up, with all these ETFs, with all this institutional demand coming in, with all of these countries and these companies locking up Bitcoin, and then with it being harder and harder to get Bitcoin every 4 years, this thing's going to go. I mean, this is supply plus demand 101. It's that. And Smoke put this out. Look at this. Ripple and Stellar, both focusing on improving cross-border payments, a $1 quadrillion industry. We already know Ripple, Stellar, what they're going for, what they're competing for, what they're not competing for, who they are working with. The entire global payment industry, they touch a market size close to 1 quadrillion. Quadrillion. And when you factor in derivatives, Forex, and settlements and all this, yeah, that's quadrillion with a Q, folks. It's a lot of freaking money. So ask yourself this question, okay, before we move on. If Ripple with XRP and Stellar with XLM carve out just a tiny fraction of the market, what happens to their valuations? I mean, the math's ridiculous. Even a 1% penetration here of a quadrillion dollar market puts us into territory where current prices, they look laughable. This isn't some future sci-fi scenario, folks. Ripple's already working with banks. Stellar has partnership with MoneyGram and others. The infrastructure is being built while retail investors are distracted by meme coins and ETFs. When these rails go live, liquidity tokens like XRP, XLM, Quant, Chainlink, Ondo, HBAR, they're going to become the necessary. Now let's jump into this because the Bank of Japan, they just lit a fuse. We're going to get macro for a second, but this is going to segue us into where we go with the rest of this video and XRP and the price of it. We're going to talk reverse carry trade, which has been a big topic in the XRP community, right? So the Bank of Japan here, it says the Bank of Japan defused a bomb today by keeping rates unchanged by Governor Yudi's statement in an explicit admission that inflation is creeping back into Japan. And that's huge, okay? Let's break this down. For decades, the Japanese yen has been the world's favorite carry trade currency. If you don't believe me, go look it up. That means global liquidity, it could seize up. So your stocks, your bonds, and your currency everywhere will feel the ripple effect. No pun intended. But here's where XRP ties in, okay? Because as fiat systems start to get shaky, institutions start looking for assets that aren't tied to central banks. Assets, let's try this the third time, that actually solve liquidity problems instead of actually creating them. XRP is designed to be that bridge. The Bank of Japan move isn't just a policy tweak. It's another piece of evidence here that the old financial system is crumbling and crypto is the exit door. So this little diffused bomb here, it is just waiting for October to explode, right? Now we get into Jake. Jake talks about this. Listen to this clip from Jake talking about
most likely going to happen.
When could the reverse carry trade happen? All right, listen up.
Is most likely going to happen. I think they need XRP futures in place, and I think they need the ETFs lined up. I think all the dominoes need to be in place. The stablecoin bill is there. It can be passed very quickly. Tether has already pretty much moved offshore, but they've been told that they will be subject to the stablecoin bill and the US regulations. You've got MiCA in place. You've got the UK ready to go with their digital pound and the digital euro in the Eurozone. You've got all of these other large central banks ready to push their stablecoin and central bank digital currency, including the Bank of Japan. The Bank of Japan is ready to go with everything that they need. We're just waiting on oil to skyrocket. I don't know if that's going to come from a shortage or something that happens in the Middle East, but that will cause the Bank of Japan to have to hike interest rates very quickly, and everything will kick off. That's going to be the gunshot that I think is going to stir all this and make it happen. And it's going to happen way faster than people anticipate because everything's lined up, ready to go for when they kick this deal off. So I think after the 19th here in May, I think that's the last piece that they need in place is the CME in order to be able to hedge and profit off of this. You've already got the XXRP ETF, which is a 2x leverage long futures XRP.
So he starts to get into and talking about the ETFs and the CME futures for XRP, which obviously went live months ago. But we tie that into what we talked about in the beginning of this video, and all that XRP disappearing from Coinbase, right? Interesting. And then we get into this break-in. Japan's stock market falls 2.5% as Japanese bond yields extend their run into record territory. So let's talk about the carry trade here. the reverse carry trade, I should say, in XRP's role. Okay, let's break this down even further. Because when rates rise in Japan, investors who borrowed yen cheap, they're forced to unwind those trades. They got to pay back the yen, which means dumping assets around the world to cover their positions. What does that do? That drains liquidity globally. In simple terms, the tide goes out. Now, here's the opportunity. When traditional markets suffer liquidity shocks, the need for an on-demand liquidity solution skyrockets. And that's literally XRP's reason for existing. It doesn't need an overnight settlement window. It doesn't need central banks to play nice. It just moves value instantly across borders like that. So while Wall Street could be panicking over the reverse carry trade, Ripple and XRP, they could quietly be stepping in as this safety value, the mechanism that keeps global capital actually moving. Listen to Jake here talking about the reverse carry trade, and he's going to explain it here.
You quickly explain the reverse carry trade. Over the last 20 years, the Bank of Japan has had extremely low interest rates, sometimes zero and negative. They would pay you to borrow money, which seems crazy. But when you're in stagflation and you need your economy to grow, you pretty much grasp at straws and do anything you can to get people to borrow money and spend it in your economy. So because of that, a lot of large pension funds, hedge funds, anybody that had good credit and a large stature went to the Bank of Japan and borrowed yen, swapped that for dollars or whatever other currency, and put that to work in global markets across the world. Basically free money that they got that they could then earn 4, 5, 6, 10, 20% on, depending on their strategy and where they parked it. And now that the interest rates have continued to rise there in Japan, a lot of those notes have to be refinanced. And some of those trades that made sense when they had low interest rates are starting to not make sense now as market dynamics have shifted and currency rate and exchange rates are changing and the interest on those loans have risen substantially. So with that, there will be a global credit call across all markets and a liquidity crisis. So,
There you go. It talks about liquidity crisis, and it goes back to where is that XRP on Coinbase? That's why I believe, folks, this isn't just noise, right? This is the setup. The macro stress cracks, they're starting to form. And the assets designed to fix them, XRP, Bitcoin, you can even say Stellar's XLM, they're about to shine like never before. So let's zoom out here for a second. We've got XRP disappearing off Coinbase wallets and looks like a behind-the-scenes supply shock. We got Tim Draper calling for a $250,000 Bitcoin. And then when history shows us that when Bitcoin rips, XRP follows with a vengeance. We've got Ripple and Stellar aiming at a $1 quadrillion payments market. And now, even central banks like Japan, they are proving the crypto thesis that fiat currencies will always debase and liquidity crises, they're invertible. The only question left here are you positioned? Because whether you believe it or not, the next big wealth transfer isn't coming. It is already starting. XRP isn't just a speculative asset anymore, folks. It's becoming the plumbing of a new financial world. If you're bullish, smash that like button right now. Drop a comment down below. And let me know, where do you think XRP is headed? What do you think about the reverse carry trade? Hey, and make sure you share this video with someone who still doesn't get it. Because you know what? That clock, it's ticking. And when this thing takes off, you don't want to be on the sidelines.